It's a terrific account of everything that we're kind of talking about.
True. Now, I think in the build up to the Battle of Chaeronea, so it's around 339 BC. Now, Philip needs some pretense to continue to expand his influence and control over the Greeks. He ultimately, see, his ultimate selfish goal is he needs to get them on board with his planned invasion of the Persian Empire, which is, anyways, his way of solidifying his claim to be one of the Greeks. The Persians invaded us 150 years ago. Let's do that again and get our revenge. Now, around 339 BC, Philip is in Thrace conducting a dual siege of Perinthus and Byzantium for not failing to send troops to fulfill their obligations to him. It's an indecisive few months because the lack of a Macedonian navy means that the Persians and Athenians are sending a lot of supplies of food, weapons, money to the two cities. Now, this after a while, he pulls back, and the Athenians, they go wild and celebrating. They're like, "Yeah, we beat this goddamn barbarian. We don't need anything." But Philip had already been planning for a campaign into southern Greece. Now, he gets linked to now the fourth sacred war that takes place, where is the citizens of Amphissa in Lorcas began cultivating lands sacred to Apollo in the plains south of Delphi. And what happens is the Amphityonic League decides that Amphissa is in the wrong and we need to declare war. Now, a Thessalian delegate proposed that Philip should be made leader of the Amphityonic Council's efforts, which gave him the convenient excuse that he can now enter southern Greece because he's been asked by the league that he's a member of to be its leader in the military campaign. So this is good for him, right? In the justification of war. Now, at the start of 339 BC, while he was here, Philip, Thebans and Athenians are now raising their forces openly against Philip. What happens is around Thermopylae and a few other passes nearby, they garrison them strongly with their forces and mercenaries. And Philip does not seem to have wanted to, declare war on them yet, but this does pose a problem because he can no longer use the Thermopylae pass. It's well bottled up. However, what happens is while the Thermopylae pass is there, the Greeks, for some reason, did not bottle this pass, which is on the shoulder of Mount Calidromos, which allowed Philip to go. So, what Philip does is absolute genius, if you ask me. He advances near Thermopylae and then withdraws. As I said quite earlier in the video, Philip's agents now come to life. They start spreading the rumor that he's gone, he's done, he doesn't want to fight, he's not coming back anytime soon. And this is where the Theban and Athenian soldiers garrisoning these various cities and all around this area, they become very complacent. And after a couple of weeks of not seeing any Macedonians come back, like, yeah, we're done. Many men, abandon the posts and withdraw. Garrisons become completely lax, and lo and behold, guess who just feigned a withdrawal and has come back in full force with a battle-hardened army? Philip of Macedon. And this is a pretty powerful force when we'll discuss as the battle build up. And, you know, as he struck, the all passes and he makes attempt invasions to the Thermopylae, the Scalidromos route, and he also does, go and take over Amphissa. Now, even though the Phocians still kind of hated him a bit, the relatively lenient treatment that they got, because they know if it was someone else, they would have been way worse off. The treatment he gave to the Phocians in 346 BC after the Third Sacred War ended bore immense fruit for this. So once he reaches the city of Elatia here, he populated it and, restores the Phocian Confederation overall to its old legacy. And he's now here, and it's November 339 BC. And he spends the next few months as it's like winter, so the army cannot move. He discharges his political duties to to the Amphitonic League in settling all the matters in Amphissa. And he returns it to Delphi. And he tries to dissuade the other city-states, especially those in the Peloponnese and in southern Greece, to not intervene in uh, the coming fight. And he still tries to make peace offers to the Athenians and the Thebans because he wants a united front. And he needs the powerful Athenian navy. He also needs the pretty strong Theban army at his side. Now, he doesn't declare war also yet. There's still no official declaration of war on the Thebans. And even though at Elatia in November and the Greeks around Lebda and Chaeronea, as we can see on the map, and it's separated by a 3 days march, the Thebans actually had a good way to get out. It's only Athens that's at war right now. So they can just withdraw without doing anything, and there's no any legal repercussion or moral repercussion that could be followed. The Thebans get kind of influenced by Demosthenes, and they ally with Athens, which is a first, given that the Thebans and Athenians pretty much loathe each other. And then, the Athenian army has now reinforced the Theban army, and they do march here. Now, Philip we don't know too much of the details. As it says, maybe the mountain passes blocked Philip's advances, as they did to the Spartans at Lectrua. But there were definitely some skirmishes that would have no doubt taken place because that's just the norm. You build up, try to get the edge, or find battleground of your choosing. And our great Demosthenes alludes to a winter battle or a battle on the river in his speeches, but there's no real details preserved. And what Demosthenes probably said, we should take it with a big grain of salt. I think that would have been useful for Carthage. And finally, in August 338 BC, Philip's army marches straight down from Elatia to, towards Boeotia to assault the allied army of Charon that is assembled at Chaeronea. Now, just give me a second. I want to talk about the army dispositions, as you can see here. While it's not exactly shown properly, the allies were also arranged in a kind of oblique manner. So in the Greeks, and they chose the site well because you have the mountain here that guards the flank, and then you have the river. So it is going to represent you, against any flanking attacks by the companion cavalry. Now they plan to fight defensive, and we had the Athenians man the left flank of their army, and it is about 12,000 well-equipped hoplites. So the state financed these guys. They bought them state-of-the-art weaponry and armor. So it's a pretty strong fighting force and pretty large as well. But crucially, they're not experienced soldiers. This is literally the first time many of them are going to even see combat. And the center is having contingents from other allied cities. So that includes Achaia, Corinth, Megara, Tonsin, Epidaurus, and a few other Athenians and such. The center of the line around here is about 7,000-8,000 hoplites as well. Again, most of them, and it also includes mercenary contingents, and they are pretty much financed by the Athenians as well. The right wing were the Thebans, and they were the largest Greek concentration with between 15 to 18,000 men. And you had them on their most far right was the Theban sacred band, or as I sometimes call it, the Theban boy band. Now, I'll just say that before because I want to talk a little bit of this unit.
Mhm.
The left flank was commanded by Lysimachus of Athens, the center by Charis of Athens, and the Thebans were under their general Tigranes. They did not play a real role, which is why I'm not asked as a usual, you know, personality details. But the Theban sacred band, now they were 300 men handpicked, for pure ability of merit, and there was no social classes to them. So even if you were poor but very good, you will probably be equipped by the state. Now, they were supposed to be consisting of 150 male couples, and which, according to Plutarch, had an older Erastes, who was the lover, and a younger Eromenes, who is the beloved. Now, another historians, Athenaeus of Naucritas, also says that the sacred bands was composed of lovers and their favorites, thus indicating the dignity of the god Eros in the play in that they embrace a glorious death in preference to fighting and leaving the battlefield in a dishonorable way. It's kind of like how that Spartan soldier after the fall of Thermopylae, was looked at. Now, another third historian, Polyaenus, describes the sacred band as being composed of men devoted to each other by mutual obligations of love.